Hi and welcome to this week's Wu Wei Wisdom Life Lessons teaching. It's great to be back with you all. This week we are talking all about the abundance mindset. Now, do you believe that you have an abundance mindset, or are you more of a scarcity mindset kind of person? Well, in this teaching, you'll learn how to spot the difference between the two. You'll also discover the many benefits of having an abundance mindset in all aspects of your life and how you can begin to cultivate and maintain an abundance mindset even during challenging times. Okay, David, so what exactly is an abundance mindset?
Well, first of all, Alex, it's not the kind of words you normally come up with, abundance or scarcity. As really, when I'm working with a client, it's positive or negative. And unfortunately, a lot of my clients have a negative or a scarcity mindset, that they're always believing that they're in a victim mode and the universe or people or energy is scarce and against them, and they have to continually fight to get what they want.
And would this relate to kind of all elements of their life? So not just, say, money and finances, but career, family, relationships, health?
I think this is the key, and this is what the teaching I'd like to get across, is that some people would just think if they have a mindset on one area of their life, as you said is a good example, money, that they will always believe that they're on the scarcity end of money, that it only relates to that area. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It relates to their view, their perception of the world and their life and people around them. So if you have this scarcity or this negative mindset, it relates to everything around you. So what I normally hear with my clients is an idea like, we have to prepare for the worst. I always have to be thinking about the worst. I always have to be ready for the worst thing to happen. And I often say to them, but if you think of all the millions, trillions, billions of things that could happen to you, why do you want to focus on one end of the spectrum? Because you're more likely, and I guess some people could say this is the law of attraction, you're more likely to be looking for those things and bring those energies into your life.
So David, though, an abundance mindset, so if you're saying scarcity mindset is more about expecting the worst to happen.
Preparing for the worst.
Preparing the worst. So whatever, in all elements of your life, expecting bad, undesirable outcomes. Is an abundance mindset exactly the opposite of that? Is it hyper positive or is it something else?
No, I think, and that's why these words are interesting to explore, because we hear these words and we misconstrue them, or it affects our perception. I believe the word abundance means, if you look at the universe that you live in, it's full of possibilities. So yes, I'm not saying that you should sit there and think that everything positive is going to happen and everything is good is going to happen to you. I would say abundance means the world of possibilities, that if you're going through, as you said in the introduction, a challenging time, if you're looking at that challenging time just through a scarcity or a negative point of view, going, oh my goodness, here's happens again. Look, this always happens to me. This is just another example. I know where this is going to end up. This is not going to end up good. What you're doing, you're missing the abundance of possibilities that may be out there. So to me, the word abundance, coming from a Taoist point of view, is leaving yourself open to look at new opportunities, new experiences, and taking what seems to be a bad situation and turning it into something positive. And I'm sure this has happened in your life as you're listening. If you think of a bad situation, leaving a job, a friend leaving you, maybe a relationship breaking down, maybe in leaving house or moving to a new area, something at the beginning that you perceive and think to be bad or scarce, or you'll never make new friends, or your career is going down the pans or something. You can turn that and make this into one of the best opportunities, one of the best things to happen. So as you said, it's not about the pendulum. It's not about swinging from one negative and saying, well, I'm going to think positive about every situation. Abundance mindset from a Taoist perspective is saying, always know that opportunities are there. You have to do the work to find them. They don't come and find you. But the opportunities of abundance, the fact that we live in a universe that keeps on offering these opportunities for us to grow and develop and to be in our flow and to reach our potential, they don't suddenly stop.
And I love the fact that, in essence, David, this is a really kind of spiritual teaching, because whether we're talking about money, whether we're talking about friendship connections, whether we're talking about love, whether we're talking about our physical health, it all relates to energy. Money is an energy. You teach that. Love is an energy. It's an energetic, physiological feeling. Connections, human connections, they are an energetic connection. And that if you believe, as you said, David, that we live in a universe of constantly transforming, blossoming energy movements and growth, it's like we are swimming in a huge ocean of energetic abundance. And that all we need to do is swim with that flow.
Yes, I can tell you how this was taught to me in China. It's like you have a beautiful apple tree or a fruit tree, absolutely laden with fruit. But the one you reach up and pick is the one that you can reach and get. And you pull it out and it has a worm inside. It's not good. But look at the rest of the tree. You picked the wrong fruit, and perhaps you can make that, this is what I was taught, perhaps you could cut out the thing and make that into chutney or something. But look at the possibilities in the rest of the tree. Don't build your life on one disappointment or one thing going wrong or saying, oh, I bet the next one I'm going to get. It's not worth reaching up to the tree and getting the next fruit because I bet that's going to be bad. It's to see this tree, nature, the world is offering us this abundance of fresh fruit, of fresh ideas. As you quite rightly said, this way of opportunities, of living in our flow. You are blessed. We take so much for granted. Just waking up this morning, and if hopefully you've woken up in pretty good health and breathing and alive, we just accept that. We just go, oh, well, that's it. And oh, look what's going to happen. The traffic this morning is going to be terrible. And we focus on the scarcity and we focus on the problems instead of widening the perception. And if you're widening the perception, you stop living in the pendulum. That's what you said. Oh, does it mean I've got to look at everything positive? No, it doesn't mean that. But it widens the view that you can see things from a really Wu Wei, a balanced point of view.
And David, would you say, because this, the picture you painted there is we wake up in the morning and we take for granted the fact that we are healthy, we're breathing, we have the opportunity to enjoy a new day. And it seems like the media and society almost wants to encourage a fear-based, scarcity-based mindset within us somehow, that we need to be careful about this, we need to worry about this. This doom and gloom is on the horizon. And even if we're consciously saying, okay, I need to think more widely, I need to understand abundance in the universe, all the messages we're getting, it can seem, is that we need to shut down, we need to protect ourselves, we need to be fearful, there is a lack, there is an imbalance, and it's kind of inherent within the world we live in. And that really goes against, I guess, the Taoist teaching of there is no lack, there is no scarcity.
But I think that's a good observation, Alex, because, how many times in my lifetime has someone tried to start a good newspaper, and it never works because that part of our mind that we call the inner child is almost on the lookout for negativity. It's in this protection mode, this scarcity mode. It's seeing that it's being attacked, that it's being the victim. And so if you look at the modern terminology, clickbait, if you put a title that somebody's in trouble or a celebrity is having a hard time, it generates clicks. That part of our mind is really programmed to go towards that. And again, it's very focused. It's very, the perception is just on one area. And what we're trying to say is here, don't be over optimistic. I'm not saying that at all, but be realistic and look at the whole of the world, and don't be dragged into this negative way of thinking. And the best way to start with that is with yourself. It's changing the view of you, not trying to change the world, not trying to change your family or your partner. And it can be very difficult if you've got a partner that's negative and always looking at the negative side of life. But it starts with you and taking responsibility and accountability for your thinking, for your way of life. And so this idea of scarcity and abundance, to me, from a Taoist teaching, as I say, is looking at the whole apple tree, looking at the whole of life, lifting your gaze, seeing the whole of the possibilities that are open to you. And don't be led like somebody's got a ring around your nose and pulling you down that negative path. You are worth more than that. You have more skills and more ability to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is the Taoist teaching. Look at the whole of the life. Look at where you are. Yes, of course, if you want to make changes, but make changes from that center, not from your emotions, for instance, as often we talk, because a lot of this negativity is led by your emotion. That you're scared, you're frightened, you want to protect yourself, instead of being led and being grounded in your Shen, your spiritual energy. And you're right, Alex. This is a spiritual teaching. Where do you want your roots to be grounded in? Do you want to be grounded in the inner child, the scarcity, or in Shen, that you have innate value and worth? There is no scarcity in your innateness of your value and worth. This is the core teaching. Value and worth, Shen, is not given to you by someone else. It's not taken away from you. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to plead for it. You don't have to beg for it. Your abundance of who you are, your spirituality, is innate. It's who you are. And live and ground yourself in that. And then your view of the world will reflect that way of thinking.
And I think, David, you're so right, because really to cultivate an abundance mindset, it's not just about encountering a situation thinking, oh, I've got to think more positively about this. I've got to think more widely about this. It's about understanding, I guess, the natural desire for the inner child or the ego, that part of our mind which is more fearful, which believes that it's unsafe, which then buys into the idea of scarcity. It's about a deeper, more fundamental, more mindful cultivation of being mindful of not to let that part of our mind run the show, not to let that part of our mind escalate fears, worst case scenarios, to be mindful every day to connect to our Shen, that deeper, wiser, authentic part of ourselves that always knows there is abundance, always knows there is opportunities, even in the most difficult situations, and to allow our daily kind of self-talk, our daily actions and choices to be led by the Shen rather than led by the inner child or the ego, which naturally kind of runs towards the idea of scarcity.
Well, as you was explaining that, which I think is exactly right, it just reminded me of a couple of weeks ago when I was working with a client and how this manifests. So I was working with a client, and when we did the golden thread and we were getting down into her core beliefs, her fundamental what she believed, she was good enough to tell me this: I don't trust myself. I don't believe in myself. I'm constantly doubting myself. So there are 3 scarcity. See, I don't believe in myself is, how could you not believe in your Shen? How could you not believe that you have inherent, intrinsic value and worth? And we had to spend a session or 2 on that, because she believed that value and worth was given to her by other people, validation, approval. We had to work through that belief. I'm always doubting myself. See, scarcity. I doubt whether there is opportunity. I doubt whether the rest of these apples on this tree are going to be good, David. So I'm not going to reach up. I'm not going to make an effort to get them, because with my luck, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to climb up the tree, get an apple, and that's going to be bad as well. So it's doubting all of the time. I don't believe in myself. I never understand that saying. What is it you don't believe in? Well, I want other people to believe in me. It seems more powerful when they believe in me. When they believe in me, then I can trust myself. When they believe in me, then I can trust that they know me better than I know myself. Here's a great example of scarcity. You're giving all your power, all your perception to other people. And as you say, that could be people in your family or society. Society is very powerful here. You're quite right, especially for our younger children. They're looking at social media, they're watching magazines, and they're telling them they're not big enough, they're too fat, they're too thin, they're too tall, they're too short. Society doesn't like them this way, society doesn't like them that way. This is why this teaching is so important, to understand, to ground yourself, as we say in nearly all of our teachings, what we call Shen, your inherent, what you have. You have this. Nobody can give it to you, and no one can take it back from you. And this is the abundance that I'm talking about. This is the abundance that is innate with you. This is who you are. I can't give it to you. I believe and know you have it. The question is, do you? And that really is the question that only you can answer. And that's where the work and the spiritual work has to be done today. Don't just say, oh, that was interesting. Oh, I don't believe it though. Why don't you believe it? Why do you think that your value and worth comes from somewhere else? And we've got so many teachings on this, because this is, I would say, life-changing. This is why we do these teachings. Are you in your flow? Do you believe in yourself? Do you trust yourself? Do you trust when things go wrong, you will find a way through it? You will be able to cope. The 3 lies. I'm not good enough. See, scarcity. I can't cope. Scarcity. I'm not good enough. Scarcity. All of these are victim statements, and this is what you have to change. When you change this, your life changes, because then you will be aware of all the possibilities, all of the apple on this wonderful apple tree that you're living under.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. Well, I will put links in the show notes to our Shen teaching playlist, and also our Law of Attraction teaching playlist, which also relates very heavily to this particular topic, and also teachings on self-doubt. I really, really hope you find this useful. Please do comment and let us know, or perhaps share it with someone else who you think the teaching may also benefit. David works every week with clients all over the world via Zoom video call on exactly these sorts of issues. If you'd like to learn more about David's consultations, I will put a link in the show notes about those as well. And finally, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We produce new teachings every week, and we would love to share your journey with you. Bye-bye.